Hey,
Oh,
how are
hi,
you?
Tim. Good. How are you?
Good.
We have other people here too.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, both Terry and Corrine are here. So, can you guys hear us all right? If you can, I've enabled chat. Just go ahead and say. Lisa might be joining us too. She's free on Tuesdays now, so she's going to start participating and learning.
Terrific.
Although I guess she's going to be late today, so I should give that caveat. Yay, and Terry thinks you can use Hangouts. Okay. Corrine, do you want to come into the Hangout? Do you want me to invite you in? I don't know if we've done that before. I'll wait for Corrine to answer. In the meantime, Terry, I'm going to start yours. So since you already went and got your Google account and got your Hangouts going, that'll save you a lot of effort. However, it still might try to initialize the hardware on your computer, your microphone, and your web camera, and sometimes that takes a while. So just be patient with it, and if it does hang up, um, just cancel out and then just come back into the webinar and we'll take care of you. Okay. All right, I'm doing it now for Terry. Karina, are you there? Tim, you need to mute yourself. Or be quiet as a mouse. Or just take over the webinar. I mean, if you want to do the whole webinar, I can mute myself. You can talk.
I am happy to let you do that this week.
All right. Okay, so Corrine, you're gonna get your personal laptop up and running. Okay, so I might start with Terry while you're doing that, and then we'll switch back to you. I'll keep on monitoring chat, so let me know uh, when you're ready to. And of course, Terry hasn't come in yet. I don't know why, but it always hangs up the first time. After people have done it the first time, after that, it always goes really fast. Okay, and so, Corrine, do you have a Google account? I mean, if you don't, it'll prompt you through creating it. You'll just have to do a lot of steps before you come back on the call. And just like I told Terry, patient with it, initializing things. Okay. All right, well, let's try it. Here we go. Oh, Terry's back. So it didn't work for you, Terry? We can try again. Sometimes the second time it goes better. Yay, Karine. Can you hear me, Karine?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can.
Whoa! Yay.
How exciting.
Very nice.
All right. I'm trying to get Terry in on the call to. Let's see.
Hey, there I am.
Excellent. Be thinking
Hey,
about.
Green.
Hello.
Are you going to be in Nashville this week?
What's that?
Are you going to be in Nashville next week?
Yes, I am.
Yay!
Yep. Looking forward to it.
Yeah. Well,
Okay, I'm going to try again with you, Terry. Hold on. Here we go. Pull Terry in. It takes a long time to get this to work, but if it does, then people will actually get to talk to each other in real time. And it seems to work every week after the first time. Well. Okay. All right. Corrine, remind me of your site again.
GraceDesMoines.org.
Oh yeah, I knew that.
And I just found out that we have a new volunteer who is interested in working on the website. The previous person who was our webmaster is no longer able to do that. So we have just set up someone who has a lot of computer experience and that kind of thing. So
okay.
That'll be good to get fewer responsibilities for the website off of my plate.
Yeah. Your site still looks pretty good.
Yeah, it there's always stuff that needs updating and that kind of thing, but it's so nice to be able to edit my own pages. And that's one of the key things that I discovered is that it's so nice not to have to send that to somebody else to make those changes and that kind of thing. So then I can just update a page, look at it, test it, and make changes on the fly, so to speak. So
I'd say your wonkiest section on the home page is the one with all the media in it.
yeah.
That one could be organized a little better.
Yeah, I feel like there's way too much on the home page. Just to, I'd like it if it was a little more just, I don't know, a little more succinct, I guess.
I mean, in a lot of ways, the stuff that's in your sidebar is somewhat duplicated in the section that's underneath it.
Yep.
So
Well,
if you didn't have a sidebar, you could probably go down to 2 rows in your, what I would call the initiatives section, where you have all of your banners, and then you could then you could get to the next section faster. And I could actually help you organize this section too, so that it was more compact within itself.
Yep.
Or you could do something like move your newsletter sign up into that sidebar.
Oh, okay.
Do something like that into that area, because it's taking up a lot of space. And that's a common place where you would find it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Terry. Yeah, sometimes it just gets hung up. I don't really know why. I mean, I kind of know why. It's the initializing of the hardware. Do you just want to stay on text and we can try Google Hangouts again some other time? All right, what questions did you have for us, Corinne?
Well, let's see. I figured out the one about how to get the Facebook page the Facebook links going to the right one. We had 2 going to the right page, 2 going to the wrong page. So that was
okay.
That was a little wonky.
That's good.
One of the things that we're probably going to be looking at is the is online giving. Currently, we use a separate company for that, and that's not something that I've ever really been involved with, and that kind of thing. But since we've got that option on the website, I'd like to at least explore that and just kind of find out what we can do with that area.
So, you have access to our online giving system, which is pretty straightforward. You basically take a page and you put a on it, which is just something like, I'll get the exact one for you, but it's something like donations. it's something like that simple. And then that'll put a form on the page. And then the settings for that page are on your dashboard already under donations. And the only payment service it works off is PayPal.
Okay.
So you'd have to set up a PayPal account, either a basic one, or you can apply for PayPal donations, which will give you a slightly lower rate, but you'll have to prove that you're a member church of a nonprofit organization. So you have to go through GCFA and get a copy of the original tax exempt certificate. But it might be worth your time if you're going to be taking a lot of donations. You'll save like 0.25% on the finance charges. They're pretty. It's a flat fee because it's PayPal, and it's pretty competitive to start with. It's usually around 2.5% per charge.
Okay.
The donation system we have, and I'll show it to you. Let me share my screen. Oh, not chat. I don't want that. I want to share screen share. Okay. Screen 2. By the way, I always like to use the words give instead of donate.
Yep.
I read that somewhere once that it was good. That was good. There was a good rationale. I don't remember what it was, but
we don't call them
it
pledges.
seems a little more personal.
We call them estimates of giving.
Yeah. Okay, so you can set recommended amounts. You can let people put in their own amount. You can set up funds that you can allow people to give to, which is recommended. The more you can personalize the giving, the better, as you probably know.
Yep.
The more choices people have, the more they're likely to give, and the more money they're likely to give. You can make it a recurring donation. If it's a memorial, they can put that information here. You might be able to change this to memorial gift. I've never thought about changing that title before, but possible.
Okay.
But it's kind of the same. If they have an employee match, they can put that here, and then they put their information. If you can set this up in donations to, if you guys already use MailChimp, I think that's the only service it works with. But if you wanted to have donors automatically be signed up for your mailing list, they can keep donations anonymous, and they put in their address. And then when they're done with all that stuff, they hit donate, and it takes them to PayPal to finish the transaction. If they did a recurring donation, it will set up a profile on PayPal where it'll occasionally, and they'll get it again. And then I'll just give you this code so that you have it, because it's really all you need to start going. You need to put in your PayPal email address in the settings on the dashboard, but I'll give you the actual code for seamless donations. It looks like this. It's in these brackets. I'm gonna put it in the chat window so you have it. pgx-donate. And that will pull in that form to that page. Whatever page you want. You can create a page and call it giving. And then put that on there. You'll see I'm using the Divi builder to construct the page because it gave me a little more control over how the page looks.
Okay.
You can put it in a normal page too. You don't necessarily need that. And then down here is the settings. So you can track your donations, your donors. If you set different funds up, you can track those. You can customize the thank you page and the thank you email, so the confirmation that they get when they're done and the confirmation they get via email. You can customize some things with the forms, and then down here you use your PayPal email address.
Okay. So then this means that it can't be set to take it right out of a bank account, correct? It has to go through PayPal?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And then,
yeah.
and what about like reports? I'm thinking about like the giving statements. We use Shelby as our giving database.
Yeah.
Is there, how would that all work?
So I think you can export. Shelby probably has a way that you can import a comma separated value like a spreadsheet, but a comma separated value. And so you can take this report. It's not a completely automated process, but you can copy it into a spreadsheet and then save it as a comma separated value file, and then you can import it into Shelby. And Shelby should have documentation on what they're looking for in that file.
Okay.
And so it's not, you wouldn't have to manually enter them one at a time. You just have to prepare every once in a while. You would just have to take the reports that Seamless Donations give you into what Shelby wants, and then you could import them all at once.
Okay.
All right. Any more questions about giving? If not, I'll field a question from Terry.
Nope, that takes care of it. Thank you.
Okay. Terry, what would you like to learn about today? Oh, okay. Terry wants me to look at his page. Terry, I've already forgotten which site is yours. Can you remind me? I feel like I should know. If not, I'll try to look it up at the same time, and we'll see who gets there first. I thought for some reason this would be. Okay, rumc.aboundant.com. And Corinne, you might want to hit mute when you're not talking. That way the focus isn't stolen back to you when you make noise.
Got it.
I think it's looking better. I need to help you figure out how to get these big spaces. It is good to have some separation between your sections, but that's probably more than you need. Help you probably get some better. So there isn't a margin around these. I can help you do that. And it's interesting that that the button overlaps with your calendar. I can probably help you correct that too. A lot of places where Terry, where you're using what I would call high contrast, so you have these really dark black outlines. You might want to consider a softer color, like maybe see this blue that you're using as the background as the borders for these. Let's get in here and see if we can work on some of this. Do you mind if I take over? You just use margins on the sections. Okay. I'm gonna wait until Terry says I can take over in case he has anything that he's working on that he wants to. And go back. I wanna. Okay. All right. I cannot wait for you guys to get the new Divi. So I think, okay. So I think what I'm going to do is one of the first things I'm going to do is I'm going to move all the rows into the same section. Yeah, I get that. So I know last week I told you, Terry, that if it's different types of content, it should maybe be in a different section. The different rows work the same way. Oh, you like the, okay. And let's just preview this. See what it looks like. Okay. Do you remember where you put the margins in? Oh, right here. Okay. So I'm just going to take them off the first one. I just want to see what happens. because you want some margins. Well, this isn't too bad. And the reason why it's not too bad is because you have this background color over here, which kind of separates it as a section. Let's try the next one and see what happens with it. Okay, this one needs a little more. I'm going to try 50. I don't think you would ever need more than 50. It looks like. And I actually would like to get less. Bottom 0. Okay, just set your margin and your padding to 0. So I would say that's a pretty good spacing. Okay, well, let's think about this section. So it's interesting. I want to see your margins and padding on this section too. Okay, it doesn't look like you have anything custom set for those. But it's interesting because the bottom is very close to the section that's after it. Let's see if that fixed it. There should be a little more space here. Okay, that's a little more reasonable. And it fits nicely on the one page, so that's good. Okay, so your next question was about the accordions. I want to try one thing. I want to take the you're using a gutter width of 2 in the other sections. Let's keep that consistent. So let's go to 2. Will it let me? Okay. And then I don't mind the accordions. What I'm not too keen on in that section is the background color. I just don't think you need it. And I'll change it and then I'll show you and then we'll see. I'll tell you why. Okay, took out all your margins. I think your background color for that section is actually over here. I can't find it. I don't know where you did that. Okay. Oh, you probably did it. Did you do it in each one of the... All right. So currently you're setting the background color within each column. So instead of doing that, let's go to the main section. The main section Yeah. So the problem is it's not gonna. Oh, it didn't undo either one of those. I lied. I'm going to do it this way. So you have the background color set for each column, and I'm going to give them the same padding of 30 pixels all the way around. And the final thing that I want to do is change your accordion colors. Somewhere you have black border. Okay, there you go. All right. Now let's take a look. I just did a lot of changes. I'll explain it if it works. It did not work. It's funny though, it doesn't look too bad. It's something that's kind of bothering me, that form a straight line, so is up here and the other is down a little bit. And I feel like that's maybe on the accordion module that you have a the padding is the same. The padding for the section is the same. Oh, you had a light gray color. I somehow got rid of this, and I didn't mean to. So even though these sections don't line up very well, Terry, and I could look into that and I could figure out why that is, if they lined up. By adding the background and giving the margins the same all the way around, I've kind of created a stronger grid. I mean, events section. Similar to how you had it. I think if I had my choice, I would have the entire background of that section be the gray color, because these have their own strong edges and they make their own columns pretty well without me having to define them. I think for like, yeah, do you know how did you even do that? I'm curious. Let me see. Let me see how, okay, so see the full calendar is your button. Here. I'm gonna make one small change here. If you have code that another site is giving you, there's actually a module for that. Called code. I'm just gonna see if that issue. I think, Terry, so you have many different styles of buttons. I think I would find one style of button that you think is the best for your site and see if you can duplicate that everywhere. And then maybe if you have something that's really important that you want to call to attention, have a different style of button for that. Okay. I think I'm going to work on your, if you'll on your homepage for about 5 minutes after we're done, and see if I can't clean it up a little bit and see if you like it. Well, and we can also come back to it right after I take another question from Corrine. So let me well, it's weird that that code didn't stick. Oh, because I copied it out, I pasted it out. Okay. Let me know if you want me to commit this, and I'll wait until I hear from you. In the meantime, Corrine, do you have another question? Has anything occurred to you while we've been talking?
Yeah, regarding we have a weekly e-news, we call it Beyond the Red Doors, that we send out.
Sure.
And is there a way to get that to automatically update on the website, or do we have to go in and do that manually?
Okay, so yeah, I think, did you send support a question about this? I think I talked to Lisa a little bit about it. I don't know if that was you or somebody else.
I don't recall, but then again, I don't recall a lot of things. So
yeah, sure. I'm the same way. So you can actually go the other direction. You can have MailChimp pick up your posts automatically from your website and send those out to people.
Okay.
MailChimp doesn't really have a way that allows you to go back the other direction.
Okay.
Is what the issue is. So, but they have something that's called RSS-driven campaign. And RSS, I always mess it up, but it's just like real simple syndication.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, that's just a string of code that other services can pick up to pull in your posts.
Okay.
And so by default, you have an RSS feed, and I think you already have a link to it, don't you? Let's see if it's correct. It is. You have a feeds burner feed set up, as a matter of fact. Your feed through an intermediary. So you can pull that feed into MailChimp, and you can have it automatically send out an email with all the newest posts once a week. You kind of get a little bit less control over that unless you get really good with some really advanced ones lately where it'll pull in the feed, but it pulls it in exactly like we want it. Otherwise, it just puts the newest post first and works down, and it'll just do the posts that have been published since the last time you sent out the RSS feed. And so look into that and see if that's something that you'd be interested in.
Okay.
And then the advantage is if you're willing to give up a little bit of control, you can completely automate it. It'll just pick up whatever stories you put on your website and it'll send them to people periodically.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
Very good.
But going the other direction, I haven't heard of a solution for that yet.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Okay. All right. I wanted to so Terry, I like your background. I like the fact that it's a watercolor and kind of the imagery that brings up. I think that there's probably a way that we can make it less obtrusive though. So if you look at websites like here, let's Google best church websites 2016. And one of the things that you'll find, let's scroll down to where the sites start, is that instead of being colorful and having a lot of options per se, the actual background colors are all neutral, and that lets the stuff that's on top of them pop out. So you'll see this color, the main colors of like this site is just this beige color and white. And then it's the images that are colored and some of the buttons. You'll see this on just about every site that you look for. And in case you're wondering, you could make any one of these sites in Divi. Divi has the power without having to do little to no coding. You could make pretty much all of these sites in Divi. Okay, so you actually have some images up here that are providing that to pop. So I like your background image, but we need to find a way to make it more subtle. And how are we going to do that is the question. How can you do that with the tools that you have? Well, we can see if there's one that already looks like that on the media site. Let's see. Watercolor. Corrine, if you didn't know about this, we have free images. Image that you used. And you're kind of using the full size, full width background. You don't need the 4K background necessarily. Okay, I'm going to save this image to my desktop. I'm going to open it with one of my mini graphics editing tools. I'm going to adjust the brightness and contrast. Actually, I want less contrast. I still don't really like that. Oh. Okay, so now it still kind of has that watercolor feel to it, but it's less obtrusive. I'm gonna save it. I'm gonna save it as a JPEG. I'm gonna make sure that it's less than 100 kilobytes in size so that it loads fast. And I actually get to up the image quality of it a little bit. Okay, then I'm going to go back to your site. Figure out which one of the 4 places you put the background image in. Where did you put that background image if it's not there? Oh, did you do it as the main background image for the site? Okay. I'll come back in case you're trying to tell me. I used fireworks. So if you even had that effect that I just did, you could actually do in PowerPoint if you have PowerPoint, and you could also do it with the Microsoft photo editings. I just put a transparent white layer over top of the actual image and then resaved it. Let's visit your site. Okay. And it looks like your background image is in the theme customizer. I'm hoping. If not, then I'm going to the wrong place. And if there's another image that you wanted to update, I could give you a more in-depth tutorial if once you know what software you would want to use to do it. I'm just being expedient, but I'm more than willing to slow down and explain and to help you work through the scenario with the tools that you have available. Okay, so general settings, background, change image, select files, pale watercolor, choose image. And you can just tell, like, look at how much more your main banner pops out now, Terry. It's like a night and day difference. And your grays, even though they're subtle, look pretty good still. Yeah. So it's starting to look pretty good. I think I'll probably, so you asked earlier where to put the donate button, and I'll answer that really fast. I'd maybe make it a page instead of a button. I want to donate to the church. And then just do a custom link that goes right to your easy payment service. Just put this link in the menu as a custom link. So you're not adding a page to the menu. You're adding a custom link, and you're just putting this link in as the link, and you can call it whatever you want. That's what I would recommend. And just keep this section as events, event related. Okay, Corrine, what would you like to ask next?
I'm trying to think. Well, I get maybe staying on the topic of photos and that stuff with editing them, and often I just kind of play around with it until I get it looking right and that kind of thing. But we are we use Microsoft products at church. I have a Mac, a personal Mac, so I prefer to do things on the Microsoft things, but I worry about it seems like it takes a long time for all those photos on our main page to show up and that kind of thing. So any recommendations on what we should do for those?
Yeah, you need to be able to down convert your images to a lower quality until they get to the point where they're like 100K or less. And that is a problem that I've noticed on your site. So since not everybody can afford Adobe, I will let Tim, are you still there? Because this is a perfect question for you. Oh no, he might be tapped out.
Oh, I'm here.
Okay, tell Chlorine what products she can use to do easy video editing that you recommend.
Easy video editing?
Or sorry, image editing.
Graphic editing. I use, well, for really quick stuff, almost every day I use the program called IRFAN. IRFAN. There, I just put that in the chat. If you just Google IRFAN, and it's free, and when you use it and install it, you want to make sure to install all of the plugins that are offered, because then you can open PDFs in it. You can open EPS files, which a lot of graphic programs will not let you open otherwise. And it can do all kinds of really basic and kind of complex things with graphics. You can batch rename files. I ran a slideshow at our centennial celebration a week ago from IRFAN with about 900 photos, and I put it together like instantly. So, I mean, it can do all kinds of stuff. The other one that I use a ton is the whole suite of software from Serif. They have a publisher-like program called Page Plus. They have an image editor, a photo editor, a website creator, but I don't use the website creator. But you know, those are terrific, and they give me deals all the time. And so a lot of times if I'm ready to upgrade and they come up with a new upgrade, they'll just call me and say, hey, you know, you want all of the software suite for about 120, which is way better than Adobe. So I'm sure they would give you a really good deal on it. And it can open Adobe files. You can open Photoshop files. You can open Illustrator. I don't think it can open InDesign. I can't remember on that. But so mostly you can open just about everything. So those are a couple of good ones to work with. I mean, there's a ton of other free things. Canva. You can get a free non-profit account with Canva that'll give you 10 users. So you just have to look for Canva nonprofit, and then there's an application process, and it takes a few days to get that. PicMonkey is pretty nice for an online free software, and their upgrade is really, really inexpensive too, to get more filters and things like that. So that could do a lot of that kind of, you know, quick image editing stuff.
Okay.
Well, there's a few options.
Wonderful. Thank you.
I'll be doing a workshop on that at CEF, as a matter of fact, too. So I'll have a handout with a lot of these things on it.
All right. Very good.
I was trying to see if I could Microsoft photo editing tool to do what I wanted to do. Strangely enough, it's not responding to my. There it goes. Ah, okay.
Oh, Serif, by the way, if you're on a Mac, Serif has a Mac program too called Affinity. And that suite is also very affordable and extremely cool.
So so I was trying to see if I can get it kind of washed out the way that it was. Color boost in white. I'm not getting it quite the way that I wanted it. Oh, there's black and white. But yeah, so there are tools. The problem is getting the file sizes correctly. Tim, out of the tools that you mentioned, do they let you downgrade the image quality so that you can get smaller file sizes?
Yes, I do that all the time with OrphanView.
With OpenView, okay.
And you can do it. You can definitely do it with Serif. When you export an image, you get to choose what quality you want. The others I haven't tried that with, but that's probably the number one thing that I do with OrphanView is resize and downsize.
The general rule is you want it, unless it's important as an image, like you're putting photos up that you want people to be able to download and see in super high detail, 100K or less is what you want. And so what'll happen is a JPEG will, it's basically using an algorithm to condense the file size. And the smaller the tighter you make the algorithm, the smaller the file size gets, but you don't lose quality in proportion. It's using tricks with its algorithm basically to make the file size smaller. And so I'll have images where I'll have it condense it over 50% or like 60 or 70% sometimes. Typically I condense it about 20%. So I keep 80% of the information. So when I save this, I'll show you what I'm talking about. Hopefully it'll be similar. The other things will be similar. I'm looking under the options and it says, what quality do I want? I saved this image at around 80.
Okay.
And you'll see at 80, it's 92 kilobytes. So it's still under 100. Okay. But if I really was having problems with speed on my site, or particularly that initial load time, that's the most important thing. I could take it all the way down to 37, and because it's a background that's faded out, it still won't look too bad. Okay. But yeah, you could take, if you spend about 30 minutes just going through the images that you have on your site and downgrading them, it would load a lot faster.
Okay.
All right.
Very good. Thank you.
Any quick questions from either of you before we finish for the day?
I don't have anything.
How about you, Terry? Cancel.
You're both doing great on your sites. Keep it up.
Yep. Yeah, come back every week. Happy to have people. Oh, Terry, you were thinking you needed a donate button on the front page. I don't think you do. I think as long as it's prominent in your menu that people can find it. If you are a nonprofit that people that weren't affiliated with your church gave to, you would need it to be more front and center because, you know, people wouldn't know where to look for it. But if it's somebody that's internal that's in your church, I think they'll find it. If they're having problems finding it, I would then put it on the front, but let them tell you that. Let somebody tell you, you know, I went to decide to donate and I couldn't figure out where to do it. And then you have it in both places. But I think it's fine if it's just on your menu. Homepage is more for visitors. Your homepage is 80% for visitors, 20% for congregants. And the other, you want it to work for both, but your people that are internal know how you do your business. They know how you're typically organized, and that'll help them navigate through your site to find the stuff that they need.
I say that focusing on the visitors on the web page is something I say frequently, that that should be the case. And not everybody believes me, but I'll keep saying it.
Yeah. I sometimes make a site that's for insiders, but a regular church, that's never going to be the case.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I make sites for conferences, which I've made several of now, they basically, they have to make that decision. Is your audience going to be people that are looking for a church in your state or your geographic region, or are they going to be the pastors that already know who you are and what you're about? Because it's two completely different sites. So sometimes we do put a little stuff for visitors, for those that's very clear where it's at, and the rest of it's all for insiders. But not for regular churches. Regular churches should all be about the outsider.
Yep.
Especially if you're United Methodist, where our prime mission is to make disciples for Jesus Christ. So, okay. Well, great. It was nice seeing both, and come back again another week.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.
Y'all.
Nice seeing you too, Tim.